Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a sci-fi drama film, Just a Breath Away. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins to introduce a concerned but beardy father named Matthew, searching for a cure in Canada for his sealed daughter, Sarah. Sarah was born with a rare genetic disease named Severe Combined Immunodeficiency, or Stimberger syndrome. Anyone who bears the syndrome has a weak immune system. Matthew boards a plane to Paris after a week. On his way home, he receives a video call from Sarah asking him to go home quickly. Matthew chuckles and rushes back to his home. His daughter, Sarah, and his scientist wife, Anna, live in a separate building, but their apartment is directly in front of his place. Matthew drops off his possessions in his apartment first, before visiting his family across the street. He's about to enter their building until an elderly man makes his way to the door wearing a mask that's connected to an oxygen tank. Matthew opens the door for him before proceeding into the building. Soon, Matthew reaches their floor, and Anna welcomes him. Matthew visits Sarah next to give her 2 gifts, essences, and an SD card containing a 3D video of a tourist spot in Canada. Sarah exclaims at the beautiful landscapes, and so she decides to share it with her friend named Ladybro and secret boyfriend. Matthew returns to Anna afterward and tells her about a possible cure for Sarah waiting in Canada because of their medical advancements there. However, Anna hesitates to accept the treatment there because the procedure is still new without backed-up promising results. Moreover, they need to migrate to Canada in case it works. Meanwhile, Sarah video calls Ladybro and her secret boyfriend, who also have the same syndrome as hers. They enjoy the video because it keeps them entertained even if they're inside the bubble. Back on Matthew, he returns to his apartment after convincing Anna to at least consider the possible cure for Sarah. He believes Sarah can walk freely again outside without worries. Out of nowhere, an earthquake trembles Paris, shutting down electricity in every place. Sarah's high-tech bubble switches from electric to battery mode to keep itself running. Matthew rushes outside, where he witnesses people escaping and dying at the same time from the massive toxic fume storming the streets. Matthew quickly returns to Anna's apartment to save her, but they need to leave Sarah alone in her bubble, since the machine is keeping her safe from the toxic fumes. The couple run to the top-floor apartment, where an elderly couple welcome them inside. The 4 of them look over the balcony to see the mist settling right below them. The toxic mist appears to be denser than air, so it can't rise and spread in the sky. The couple contacts Sarah through a walkie-talkie radio, and fortunately, Sarah is safe within the bubble. Somewhat later, the bubble's battery goes down to 4 bars. Matthew and Anna then realize the bubble won't last overnight. Consequently, Matthew needs to steal the oxygen from the elderly man living right below them. For sure, the elderly man is dead from the mist, so nobody can use it anymore. He first holds his breath before diving into the toxic mist. He climbs off the window next and descends right below the top floor. Then he breaks into the elderly man's apartment, grabs the oxygen tank, takes the mask off the elderly man, and then secures the mask on his own face. He also gathers food supplies from the place for Sarah. While gathering the supplies, he discovers a healthy puppy running freely in the corridor, whereas its mother is lying dead in a bedroom. Afterward, Matthew goes to see Sarah to deliver food supplies and to replace a new battery of the bubble. After doing his tasks, he goes outside to check the aftermath, where he sees citizens scattered dead on the streets and abandoned vehicles blocking the road. He also encounters a couple of soldiers leading a group of survivors who are all equipped with gas masks and tanks. One of the soldiers sees Matthew standing alone, so he invites him to join their journey on the way to Montmartre, a place where the mist can't reach them. Sadly, Matthew rejects the offer because his family is still at home. Fortunately, the soldier generously gives him 2 tanks and masks before returning to the leaving group. Matthew eventually goes back to the apartment. Anna and Sarah worry about him because he has taken so long to return. Matthew apologizes for making them worry. He then briefs Anna of the devastating deaths in the city and the group of survivors traveling to Montmartre. An hour later, Matthew notices the mist is rising from time to time, meaning they can't stay longer in the apartment. At night, the old man lends his radio to Matthew and Anna to keep them updated with the news. However, the radio is broken, and so the old man insists on fixing it by himself. A few moments later, he gives up so he can finally sleep with his old wife in their bedroom. Meanwhile, Anna can't sleep, so she decides to fix the radio by herself. However, her tools are in their apartment, so she goes out of the top floor and grabs her kit. She then visits Sarah, who's sleeping peacefully in her bubble. The following day, Anna successfully fixes the radio, where they hear a national announcement to stay indoors and secure all open spaces to prevent the mist from entering their houses. Afterward, they hear an explosion, and so the couple climb over the rooftop to see where it's coming from. Across the horizon, they see survivors rallying and rioting at Montmartre. Afterward, they return to the apartment. They decide to move to Lady Bro's house, since she lives on the hills, and Sarah can stay temporarily in her bubble. It's a perfect place to avoid the mist, but they need a suit for Sarah since the mist is toxic. Anna remembers a bodysuit in her laboratory, which is perfect for Sarah. Before they leave, Sarah requests her parents to save her secret boyfriend, who lives nearby and is currently left alone in his bubble by his parents. At first, the parents refuse to do it because they only have a limited air supply, but Sarah makes them realize that if it's her in the boyfriend's position, they would immediately risk everything to save her. Soon, Anna and her husband venture together outside to save Sarah's boyfriend, but their initial plan is suspended because a street dog violently chases after them. During the chase, Matthew fails to recognize the street due to the thick mist, so he falls off the bridge and drops into the Seine River. Meanwhile, Anna continues to run and enters a bus to lock the dog inside. Afterward, she exits the bus through a window and then proceeds to run back to the laboratory. Meanwhile, Matthew resurfaces safely on the ground. He replaces his wet jacket with a coat from a corpse. He then notices a hazmat suit worn by medical staff stuck inside a car. However, he doesn't bother to get it since Anna anticipates his safe return to the laboratory. The couple reunite in no time, and together they enter the lab and climb to the floor where the suit is located. En route, they encounter a fire in one of the rooms, but they ignore it as they venture deep into the corridor. Soon, they obtain the suit kept in a suitcase. Afterward, they leave the floor through a door, when suddenly, an explosion blows up in front of them, throwing them at the wall. The explosion originates from the fire they ignored earlier. Unfortunately, the blast injures Matthew and also damages the tube that connects his mask to the tank. The unexpected inconvenience forces them to share one mask and tank as they climb to the top floor. At the top floor, Anna immediately treats Matthew's wounds. Afterward, they're ready to go back until they see the tank is nearly empty, meaning it's not enough for them to use it simultaneously. Matthew then offers to stay behind, while Anna uses the tank alone to bring home the suit. Before splitting up, the couple declare their love to each other, reminding themselves that they're grateful to be together. Next, they press their lips together as a sign of their devotion. They soon separate ways to do their tasks. Matthew utilizes the rooftops to cross the neighborhood. During his solo Parker trip, he finds a campsite in a parking lot filled with food supplies and a pair of tank and mask. He knows the owner puts up a bloody warning at the entrance, but Matthew needs to go back with the mask and tank, so he steals them. Unfortunately, the owner is a city cop who has recently come back after hoarding more supplies. Matthew doesn't want to return the equipment, so he throws himself into the toxic mist and drags the cop with him. The cop dies after inhaling the toxic, while Matthew successfully obtains the equipment. Shortly after, Matthew resumes his journey back home. Meanwhile, Anna runs back to the apartment, but when she's almost inside the building, the tank depletes completely. Anna hastily disposes of the equipment and bolts her way up to the top floor. Anna luckily survives the mist and finally enters the top apartment safely. Anna is elated to survive the risky journey, but disappointment falls on her face as she finds the suitcase scorched by the blast. She opens the case and finds the suit charred black, putting all of her risky efforts to waste. Anna forcefully composes herself while waiting for Matthew's return. On her phone, a notification prompts on her screen, reminding her that the bubble is about to shut down in 10 minutes because its battery is nearly drained. Anna panics because she has no equipment to use, but she prioritizes Sarah's safety over hers. Therefore, she decides to go down, but without the equipment this time. Before she descends, Sarah unexpectedly asks her what love feels like, and Anna senses her daughter is subtly pertaining to her secret boyfriend. Anna sets aside her worry to give an honest and genuine answer to Sarah. She encourages her daughter to love because it's her right to feel loved, and it gives them hope to fight for their lives together, enduring the battles in life until the end of times. A few minutes have passed, and Sarah's bubbles shut down. The mist slowly enters the bubble through a vent. Anna arrives maskless, but she quickly plugs the battery into a power bank to restart the bubble. The bubble reactivates, which quickly filters out the mist out of the machine. Anna presses her hand on bubble to appear that she's holding Sarah's hand. Sarah appreciates the gesture, but she immediately asks her mother to go back. Anna nods and does what she needs to do. Meanwhile, Matthew arrives in the apartment right after Anna leaves the room. Sarah hurries him to check on her mother because she charged her bubble without a mask. Matthew quickly leaves the apartment and runs upstairs. Matthew hopes to see his wife again, but grief takes over him as he sees her dead on the flight of stairs. Matthew returns to the apartment on the top floor. He delivers the saddest news to everyone, which is that Anna is dead after risking her life to save Sarah. Sarah remorsefully blames herself for the death of her mother, but Matthew explains to her that it's Anna's choice to prioritize and save her, which is out of their control. A few moments later, a second earthquake trembles the ground, resulting in the mist rising higher. The worsening situation forces Matthew to go outside and retrieve the hazmat suit he saw earlier. He tries to convince the old couple to join them, but the old man refuses to leave because they're content to stay behind and that their time on Earth is fulfilled already. Matthew respects their decision and soon heads out on the road in search of the hazmat suit, whereas the old couple allow the toxic mist to kill them together. Matthew eventually obtains the hazmat suit and a working scooter on the road. He brings everything back to the apartment when a boy he recognizes as Sarah's secret boyfriend unexpectedly blocks his way, which causes him to flip and crash into the abandoned cars. Matthew collapses due to the impact and receives another wound on his temple. The movie ends with Matthew soon waking up to witness a miracle. He sees Sarah and her secret boyfriend standing in front of him without any equipment against the mist. Matthew can't help but release his joyful tears because Sarah is finally free from her bubble. He finally embraces her daughter and even removes his mask just so he can give her a smooch on her forehead. It turns out the toxic mist doesn't affect juvenile living beings and people bearing the Stimberger syndrome. Due to the concussion, Matthew recollapses shortly after the small reunion. Matthew later wakes up inside Sarah's bubble, implying that the father and daughter have exchanged positions due to their current situation. Sarah becomes the new guardian, and her beardy father will experience being the bubble boy. This Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.